All right, guys. Hi, welcome to it. So excited to have you here. So excited to have you here, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time this afternoon to be with us as we launch our knowledge series. It's going to be happening over the course of May and June. Going to be having fantastic speakers lined up for you in a series of events, just to help you navigate through these times and just to give you some idea on how to host a virtual event. So today's speaker is a virtual reality and augmented reality expert. His name is Steve Pinto. So fantastic to see you guys here. We've had over 200 people confirmed for this event, so really, really great. Guys, so just engage with us in the chat box. Can see some awesome messages coming through. Keep them. We're going to start in the next few minutes. Just allow a couple of people to join us. So hang 10 and we'll be back shortly. All right, guys, welcome to it. For those of you that have just joined, so excited to have you here. It's amazing that you're joining us. We're going to be starting shortly with the presentations. In terms of the process for today, we've got a chat box in the right-hand corner. We've got the Flock team managing that, running a couple of polls today. The Flock team are behind the scenes. They're going to be answering a couple of your questions and running some live polls. So really trying to get that engagement with you guys today. So I'll also be bringing some of the Flock team members onto stage with me shortly. So yes, for those that don't know me, my name is Mike Lisko. I'm the founder and CEO of Flock Eventing Platform. Amazing to have you over here today. Yeah, tell us where you're tuning in from. I can see we've got a couple of people from South Africa. We've got someone from Lisbon in Portugal, someone from the UK. That's amazing. So hi, guys, please, Cape Town. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Hi from across the world. All right, guys, so if you can see my screen, you can see the presentation. Give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Let's get this going. Let's get a little bit of engagement going. So fantastic, guys. And while you're doing that, I'd like to think, we're all in the events industry. So just like for you to think back on how you got on into the events industry. Was it a festival that you attended, a birthday or office party that you organized that just really got you gripped and hooked in events? I know for me personally, it was hosting parties. Believe it or not, I was a DJ back in the day when I was 16. Got my mother's old turntable, got some speakers, and threw a party, and didn't look back, and really got hooked into events and the tech as well. As a bit of a nerd, really enjoyed it. So, yeah, tell us, just think back to how you got into it. Right, we'll be starting shortly, guys. I know with the past few weeks, it has been crazy. Our industry and many others have been wiped out or turned upside down, really. So it really has been crazy. So if I can ask you in the chat box in one emoji, please tell me how you've been feeling these past few weeks. I'd love to see your emotion come through in one emoji. Cool, yeah. Some great, thanks, Hanley, Sarah. Wow, they're coming through. Yeah, so definitely, yep. A lot of anxiety I can see. Any thumbs up or anyone confident just about, okay, there's a smile. Great. It's amazing, guys. The emojis are really describing it. Thank you so much. Amazing. Thank you. Hey, Hadki, yes, definitely. Cool kid with your sunglasses. Loving it. Michael Jackson giving us some love and showing us some power arms. We will get through this, guys. Awesome. Cool. Keep the chatter alive. It's amazing to see you all here. So happy that you are joining us. So just before we get into it, as usual, at any event, you've got some housekeeping. So just a few things to bear in mind. We're going to be going through the presentation. We will end by 4 o'clock if there's some time to answer some Q&As thereafter. We'll stick around, but trying to keep on schedule. I know that everyone's time is valuable. So we'll be going through the presentations, short presentation from Flock. We'll be leading into our amazing guest presenter, that's Steve Pinto. He'll be talking about virtual reality and augmented reality. We'll go back into a presentation from Flock again, just giving you some tips and tricks on how to host a virtual event. And then we'll be asking some questions. If you want to ask any questions, we'll be answering those rather. We'll also be running a couple of live polls. Please do take part and engage. You can find the polls at the bottom of the navigation bar. You'll see that we've already preloaded those, and keep those questions coming through as well. And then a reminder, we will, yes, there's a question already from Kerry. We will be sending the presentations out. We're also going to be packaging the series of webinars and then sending that out afterwards. And just a quick reminder on the competition we're running. There are 2 prizes that we've got. One is for a spa shopping voucher worth 1,500 Rand. A big thank you to Blue Water Bay Spa in Port Elizabeth. Thank you so much, Nick, at Blue Water Bay Spa. And then also a 500 Rand donation to a charity of your choice. So to stand a chance to win, you just need to complete the entry form. You'll see Veronica will be posting the entry form in the chat box. Please do engage with us during the session and stay till the end to find out if you've won. The other prize that we're running is also event software, and that's worth 10,000 Rand to go to your next event. All you need to do is complete the post-event survey, and the winner will be announced next week. Cool. With that in mind, I know that usually we would have tea breaks, the bathrooms and all of that, but I'm sure if you're tuning in from your house, you know exactly where those are. So I'm going to bring in my colleagues and the team. So give me a moment as we just do a quick intro. Cool. Do keep engaging with us on the chat. Loving the chat. This is really great. Okay, so as mentioned, we've got the Flock team managing things in the background. The whole team is on the call today. So just bringing Veronica and Kelly up on stage. Kelly's going to be my co-host, and Veronica is going to be announcing the winner at the end of this webinar. Hey, Kelly, how's it going?
Great. Hello, Mike. Hello, everyone else. Great to be on today on this live virtual event.
Perfect. Yeah, and you've seen a lot of interest in the virtual events in the past few weeks, which has been great. So really looking forward to sharing some tips and tricks with everyone.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, in the last couple of weeks, we've been in contact, with everyone in the industry, and we're all in the same boat. So, yeah, I mean, we've been learning a lot, and hopefully we've got a couple of things to share with everyone today to get everyone online.
Exactly. And guys, as we navigate through this territory, there's going to be maybe some issues that, like internet issues and so forth, but bear with us, that may happen. We've tried best to avoid those. Some things are out of our control, but yeah, just making it a great experience for everyone. So really appreciate that. Cool. Just waiting for Veronica. If she doesn't come through, let's just add her there quickly.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Veronica.
Here we go.
So for those of you
Sorry,
that
I
have
took a while
worked
to
with
get
us,
there, but I'm here. Happy to be here.
awesome to have you on screen. So Veronica is going to be answering your questions and running some live polls, and then she's going to be announcing the competition winner at the end of the presentation. So stick around. Yep. We'll see you shortly, Veronica. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I'll see you in the chats.
Bye. Cool, Kelly. Thank you so much. We'll catch you sort of after Steve's presentation. So looking forward to having you as a co-host.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'll be back a little bit later with some audience engagement and a couple of tips and tricks that we've learned over the last few weeks on, just putting these type of events together and how we can help you do that. Great. Chat just now.
Fantastic. Great. So, just a little bit of intro on, let's do a quick poll before we get into an intro. So if you can please navigate to the poll section at the bottom of your screen. We're going to do a quick icebreaker. So please, with your hand on your heart, are you wearing PJs right now? All right. Big majority of you saying never. I'm sure that you have had some Zoom meetings or online meetings. You've heard the phrase with business on top, party at the bottom. So, right, we've got 2 votes that said they literally took them off a minute ago. That's fantastic. Hope you are enjoying your time in bed. Right, the next one. Let's go to the next poll. I'd like to find out from you, how would you rate the quality of audience interaction when attending online events? Give a moment for some results to come through. Awesome, fantastic. That's great. It's good, but not like physical events. I'm sure we're all missing physical events as we navigate through this new normal. But there are ways and tricks that we can essentially get this navigation or get the engagement going. So that leads us on to our next poll, please. If you can go to which technology trend will have the greatest impact on our industry in the next year. So we've got Internet of Things and smart home tech, AR and VR, machine learning, automation, and humanized big data. So it looks like there's a 50-50 split with Internet of Things and smart home tech with AR and VR. Yes, very important as we find that working remotely really is going to happen more so in the future, and how do we engage with each other? You'll see these technologies really come to the fore. Cool. Thank you so much for taking part in those quick polls. Really appreciate your feedback. I'm going to be sharing some stats on just with regards to a survey that was done globally with over 2,000 event organizers about a month ago. This was conducted by the Event Manager blog. And you can see just in terms of how much business the coronavirus has impacted people. So close to 90% having been impacted. So not great at all, but again, we are a resilient bunch. Being in the events industry, we do know how to definitely make a plan. So yes, uncharted territories, but I'm sure you guys are great sailors, so we're going to navigate through the storm together. In terms of involving a virtual event, have you been involved in the process of planning a virtual event? Again, this is at a global survey that was done. Around 64% said no, but they are ready to learn, which is great. It shows you that we are really trying to adapt and trying to do a new way of things. And then this leads to the point of, do you charge for your virtual events? So close to 75% saying no. And that's why we're over here as well, to essentially provide you with some tips on how to monetize your events and also get sponsorships and return to those sponsors. Cool. So just in terms of a local survey that we're running ourselves, can you please navigate to your polls? And would you please take part in the final poll that we've got before we get into the presentations? Okay, so the poll that we're running is, have you been involved in the process of planning a virtual event? No, but I'm keen to try. Yes, we have done a few. Okay, great. That's fantastic. We've got a 50-50 split. So quite a couple of you are experts here already, which is great. Keep those votes coming in. We're nearly going to close it off. Great, that's fantastic. It seems like it's a 50-50 split, more or less. But great. That's for those that haven't, we're really here to help you. For those that have, yes, I'm sure definitely we can have some experience shares that we're going to learn from each other. So quickly, just in terms of who Flock is, I know that I've spoken to a lot of you before, so really privileged to have you on this call today. For those of you that don't know who Flock is, we provide an online eventing platform. It's the ultimate tool for event planners. You can manage your RSVPs through a landing page, easily create your own branded website, send out communication. You can publish a mobile app and get event analytics, and more recently also integrating live streaming as well as virtual events. So yes, we have been online for some time, and we've done work internationally in over 36 countries. So it shows you, even though you are a local company, essentially you are able to have a global reach. So great. What we've also got going through in the next couple of days, it is live and ready. We've put together a virtual events playbook. This playbook is packed just with great tips and a guide in terms of how to host a virtual event. So we'll be sending that out to all of you. And yes, it'll be great for you to go through. You'll be getting just a great guide in terms of hosting your event virtually. So. Right, and before we go into our guest speaker, Steve Pinto, just wanted to give you just an idea around the various experiences that are coming out. And you've got the 2D and 3D. Essentially, your 2D is maybe just a 2D environment. You're watching it on your laptop, not much engagement, or a 3D experience. And then you've got your 3D experience, which really takes you to a new level of engagement. And that's coupled by augmented reality. For those of you that know, you can use your smart device, have a augmented object display on a surface, It's not physically there, but essentially you'll be able to interact with that object. And then with virtual reality, it's a fully immersive experience where you put on the goggles, you put on the headset, and essentially you go into a new realm, which is essentially where Steve is going to be chatting about. And then you've got XR, which is extended reality, which combines all those components. So fascinating space to be in. All right, please welcome me as we get Steve Pinto onto the stage. All right, I'm just bringing Steve onto stage. Please let's have some claps in the chat box, please. All right. Thank you so much. Audience, you have been great. Really love the applause coming through. Steve, how's it going?
It's going great, thanks, Mike. I'm pretty sure that it's customary whenever you have one of these is like, can you hear me? Can you see my screen? Is everything working correctly? You know, just to double check that nothing's broken. Exactly. You know, because it's just, that's 2020 for us right now, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was asking the question: Are you wearing decent clothes at least?
I just took my pajamas off a minute ago.
Cool, Steve. So how have you
seen really
how have you seen the industry on your side? How have things been going?
It's been good. You know, we're trying to adapt. Sorry, I'm just going to put up my presentation quick. And there we go. Just want to turn that down a bit as well. Cool. The pictures come through?
We've got it there, yeah.
Fantastic. We've seen a lot of uptake in the last, couple of weeks where people are trying to find solutions to kind of, fill the gaps that's being left by, by COVID. I think that, if you had called and told the world 3 months ago that there was going to be a lockdown, I still don't think anyone would be prepared for it. This whole kind of scenario just really, creeped up on us, and nobody was really prepared. And we've gotten a lot of requests and inquiries about trying to use AR and VR tech just to try and bridge these gaps, that have been kind of left by this stay-at-home situation. And we found like some really, interesting opportunities, but still there are holistic challenges that are in the industry that I'm going to talk a little bit about today in my presentation, but, which is, it's very difficult for people to just switch from something they know to something they don't. And I wanted to take this time and this opportunity to, try and educate the market a little bit and show, what is possible now and what's, the end goal that we're looking to do in the next few years.
Awesome. Cool. With that, cool. The stage is yours.
All right. Like Mike introduced, my name's Steve Pinto. I'm from a company called New Reality. I'm a CEO and founder. We've got a team here in South Africa and another in Hong Kong. We've got a good, solid, team of engineers that are, building all kinds of experiences for the automotive industry, for the pharmaceutical industry, for like collaborative design and workflows. And we're also, dealing with a lot of blue chip companies around the world, offering the solutions that we've developed here locally in SA. And, I always believe, and I always start my presentations with this famous quote from Arthur Clarke. It's, any sufficient advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And I believe that, whenever I put a VR headset on someone, they take it off and they're in complete amazement because it's this full level of immersion, this full level of interaction that you can't get in any other form. And it's one of those instances where technology has really shown the true magic and the potential of what we're on the cusp of doing. And, I've always believed that, good design is obvious, but great design is transparent. You don't notice it. It just works. It's seamless. It works like it was designed to work for you. We've seen how babies can take an iPad and just unlock it and use it and work with it without being shown or taught anything. And that's because an iPad is just that well designed and the interface is that well designed that it just feels natural and intuitive. And VR and AR tech is getting to that point where it feels naturally intuitive. And, I want to take this opportunity to kind of, showcase what's out there, what's possible, and also to give a bit of context of, how we can all kind of deal with the current situation that's going on. I think it's important that, if we're going to all be stuck in our homes and we're going to have problems getting, items delivered to us and not going to be able to get the highest quality experiences that we could possibly give or consume, we have to try our best to improve what we do have and make the best of the situation. So I wanted to show off some of the cool experiences that have kind of happened, some that are local and some that are international, and, show how well these projects have been and how we have to rethink the entire business model of our industry. This video is from a local company called Howler. Howler made a massive online streaming event called DreamStream.
The online digital festival experience that emerged from a locked-in world and created a world with no boundaries. That gave us a space for connection, a playground for meeting new people, a place where your rules ruled. You immerse yourself in your favorite sounds and experience new musical talents in your home, in your lounge, in your hearts, all from a good cause. The DreamStream, a Howler initiative in support of SAFE, a South African fund for entertainment. It welcomed 50,000 viewers from 130 countries, virtually connected them through music and good vibes. Born in South Africa, the DreamStream is the world's largest Zoom music festival on one platform to date. 35 DJs and 9,000 Zoom users having the time of their lives and raising $500 million for SAFE. What made it work? What made it magic? You did. This is
so. Howler put off this DreamStream, fantastic event. Brought in R500,000 for the people that are kind of affected by COVID and aren't able to, service the events industry, the AV teams, the stage performers. Everyone is kind of struggling at this moment, and they were able to, pull off a digital production and get 9,000 people on a stream and raised R500,000. And if you think about it, the operational costs, the overheads are quite minimal, and they were able to create a significant amount of revenue out of this. And, that just shows that everyone is still willing to contribute to the entertainment industry. Everyone's willing to still be a part of it. And even through the lockdowns and the restrictions that we have, we're still making the best of the situation. And there was no other real way to get 50,000 people, to be involved in a conference like this or a stream like this. And there are other instances around the world that have shown like dramatic numbers just for people who are contributing and getting involved in events. This image that I've got showed up here is from Stockholm in Sweden. On May the 1st is a public holiday in Sweden. And because everyone was at home, locked in their houses, they decided to have a virtual VR stream where they actually put on the holiday event that they usually have, the parade and all these, kind of music festivals and so on. They had this all in VR, and they had 1 million people come into the virtual space and be involved in this event. I mean, you can't even think about putting 1 million people in any kind of venue. It's impossible. But you're able to put 1 million people in a digital experience, and they were connected from all over the world. And, the Swedes could still have their public holiday. They could still have the closest experience they could, as opposed to just, staying put in their homes. I actually did the research this morning, and I found out the largest event for a stadium or for an indoor event of any kind was just shy of 200,000 in Brazil during a World Cup. And that was in like 1950. I mean, just thinking about putting 200,000 people in one space is just an astronomical, feat of logistics. But, a digital event was able to pull in 1 million people, for a public holiday. And one of the biggest news that's happened in the last few weeks is that, a famous rapper, Travis Scott, had an event inside a Fortnite game. And it was quite wild. Like, players logged into Fortnite and they were able to watch a live show. I've got a clip. I'll show it to you quickly. This is the concert that he pulled off. So everyone is in a game watching a performance. The show went on for about 30 minutes. and it was over 3 days, and collectively 12.6 million people watched this concert. 12.6 million people were involved in this event. This is the largest, gathering of people in history to an event. And if you had to think about just charging $1 and donating all that money to charity, you would have raised $12 million in 3 days just by using a platform that exists and putting, and bringing a famous person in front of an audience. Access has become, completely accessible to so many more people because the internet has empowered us. Games, all this technology has empowered us. And now, while Fortnite has 350 million players around the world, 12 million people were able to jump in and watch this live performance. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. And, all this is kind of centered around this idea of connection, right? We all try to connect in all different kinds of ways when we go to public events, right? We try to connect with new people. We try to connect with new kinds of experiences. We try to create connections that are deeper because we're physically there. We're using our eyes, our ears, our bodies. We're involved. We're there. We can feel the deeper connections. And that's the gap that we're trying to fill with the technology we're doing right now. So in this instance, while we're using a webcast to communicate to a group of people about an idea or technology, instead of going to a conference venue, we're trying to fill the gap with connection. Because deeply, humans want to connect with each other. And we do that in these social environments that we get from events. And that's why events have worked for hundreds of years. But in these instances and these times, during pandemics, when we have to stay still, we have to still think outside the box. We have to think about ways that we can still bridge connection without having to actually physically be there because we're not allowed to do so. And it's not a safe thing to do at all right now. And some of the things I want to talk about is, the current technology that's available, the current ways that we're, creating these experiences and how we're trying to, stream and record and create these, virtual experiences as close as we can get to real life because, we're trying to still create good experiences for everyone that's consuming the content, and we're trying to put on good productions. I think everyone in the events industry knows the value of a quality production. And I think that, while we didn't have AV teams and we don't have big stages and we don't have lights and we don't have, presenters and so on, we have to fill in the gaps. And the way that we can fill in the gaps is, just looking at the technology that's available to us. How do we bring that into into our homes, into our home offices, into, confined spaces? And how do we make content interesting? How do we make things engaging and immersive? And how do we bridge the gap until, we're allowed to go and have normal events as we used to? And some of the technology that I'm going to talk about as well in terms of AR and VR is kind of, what you can do right now and what you can do, in the next few years, because there are a lot of challenges in the industry. It's not so much about technology. It's also about the supply chains, about access to markets. It's about the type of clients and the products that you can service to those clients. So there's a lot of different factors that I'm going to briefly talk about and just kind of get everyone up to speed about where the kind of industry is. But where I wanted to start is how can we just make the content that we're doing right now better? How can we take the stuff that we possibly have and just try and make experiences better? How can we make good presentations? How can we, improve the quality of video streams and audio and not have this, constant friction points between, people having to talk over each other during Zoom calls, trying to coordinate teams of people, trying to make sure that the quality of the production and the audio is there and the latency is low. We have to look for these tools that can try and make our whole experiences a hell of a lot better. So I wanted to talk about the setup that I'm using right now. So I'm not using a webcam off of a laptop, obviously. I have a DSLR plugged in. It's a very, rudimentary camera. It's nothing too fancy, but I have a webcam that's behaving, well, I have this DSLR camera that's behaving like a webcam. It's just a cable that goes from this camera into my laptop, and it's behaving like a webcam. I have a simple shotgun microphone that doesn't really cost too much money, and a basic sound card. This whole set of equipment, can cost you about 10,000 Rand. And you still have a camera, a mic, and an audio card that you can do other things with. I have all these things because I make a lot of content for clients, and I have a lot of different equipment. But, these are things that you could, just buy and have at home, because if you're going to be at your home for the foreseeable future, you're going to try and make the experiences as good as possible for everyone else that you're communicating with. Now, you don't have to go and spend the 10 or 12,000 Rand or like $1,000, you know, to kind of get a good setup. You can go a lot, you know, lower end as well with the price space. You know, Canon has entry-level cameras that cost like $300 that can do the same thing. You know, the microphone and the sound card, you can get a good deal on those, and you can get them for like $100, you know, maybe like 2,000 Rand. You can also get equipment like this. This is a high quality Logitech webcam with a Carl Zeiss lens on it. It does full HD. It's got great camera quality, and you know, it plugs into USB. It's really simple to use, and you can get a USB powered microphone, which also will just increase the quality of your video feed and your audio feed so much higher that you're going to start having a much better experience, and you're going to be providing a better experience to the person on the other side of your Zoom call or your, you know, conference or anything that you're kind of you know, creating at the moment. And then you can, you know, if you want to, you know, sink a little bit more money, and you can get something like this, which is designed for huddle rooms. It's designed for, you know, remote working situations between offices. This Logitech device has got a microphone built in, a high-end speaker, and, you know, an ultra-wide camera as well. And simple plug-and-play technology, works with all the services out there. And, you know, this will set you back about $1,200. And, you know, if you want to make that investment, you can, and you're going to have a really crisp quality of the experience that you're, you know, producing for everyone else on the other side of the stream. And I think that if we can just find these little ways to, you know, get, you know, interesting pieces of technology together to improve the experience, you know, dress your background, get, you know, a nice cool lamp to give you some nice lighting, you know, you're going to create a better visual, you know, on your side of the stream. And if everyone does it on the other side, then, you know, this whole experience of doing remote working and remote, you know, conferencing and venues and so on is just going to be that much easier. So, you know, my suggestion is, you know, don't think about trying to get the most high-end, the craziest thing, and trying to build a setup that, you know, possibly is not really going to work out well for you. Try to find the quick wins that you can get that just make the experience better. Because if everyone can do that, then, you know, this remote working situation and you know, being on the other side of a Zoom call is just going to be a little bit easier, and is going to be a little bit less friction in between. And then, you know, the next thing I want to talk about is kind of where VR is at the moment. I talk about VR specifically because VR is here, where AR is a little bit, is definitely going to come a little bit later. While you can do AR experiences on your phone and your tablet, and, you know, you can play games like Pokemon Go, and you can have cool experiences, it's not a natural experience because you have to hold the device with your hands. Only at the time when you're going to have like ubiquitous glasses on your face where you can see augmented reality content in your environment, the experience is going to be, you know, really good. The image quality is going to be great. You're going to have all-day battery life. AR isn't really something that's accessible for consumers. And when it's not really accessible for consumers, it's not going to be really accessible for enterprise either. You know, it's currently the only headsets that are out there that do something similar is a Microsoft HoloLens. And that, you know, that's a $3,500 unit, and you still have to build your own software for it. So, you know, the barrier to entry in that price point is quite difficult. VR is a lot more accessible. You can buy VR headsets from $200 up to $2,000, but if they start at $200, and with $200, you can have a good experience. This application is called Meet in VR. I've used it on countless occasions. My team and I, we use it constantly for meetings and discussions and collaborations. And it's a really, really solid platform. It's designed to allow you to, you know, have a meeting anywhere you want, whether you want to be floating above the earth, or, you know, in an office space that feels comfortable, or even a cinema room where you can have a presentation, you know, in a more comfortable environment. And, you know, the latency is incredibly low. You feel true presence and immersion because you can look someone in the eye, and you can turn your head and look at someone else in the eye. And you can feel like you're almost in that same environment because VR gives you this full immersion where you believe that you're in this space. You know, you can do interesting stuff with product reviews, design reviews. You know, you can have this sort of experience that you would have in your office, you know, in a physical space, but you can do it, you know, remotely in VR. And, you know, Meet in VR is one of countless platforms that exist that all do different things in the space. But what they try to do is bridge what we're used to doing in our offices and now what we, you know, are needing to do in remote collaborations and remote environments. I'm really excited about this platform. I think it's great, and, you know, it gives us a taste of what the world can really start to look like when, you know, people work in all kinds of remote locations, but don't feel like they're in remote locations. They feel like they're still in the same room with each other. I've had meetings with our clients in Hong Kong in this platform, and you know, it feels like we're all in the same room together. We have an hour and a half long meeting, and you know, we assume that we're actually, you know, in the same space. We're fully immersed, and we feel that, you know, the presence is there, that we're in the same space with each other, and we're collaborating, working really well. You know, we can share files, we can show each other presentations, we can play videos to each other. It works really, really well, and you can put it on a headset that costs $200, and you can put it up all the way to a headset that costs you $2,000. But you have the full flexibility and the ease of the product being available. The only challenge is that, you know, because the world's factory had closed for a couple of months, you know, China, a lot of these products are really hard to get your hands on right now. There's back orders, there's a huge demand and a low supply, you know, just like, you know, typically we've seen with lots of different products around the world right now. So, you know, VR is having its moment to shine, but it's struggling because it can't actually provide to the demand that's available. You know, the Oculus Quest is probably the most popular headset in the world right now. You're going to wait at least 2 to 3 months until a headset's available for you to purchase, and it's just because of, you know, the current situation we're in. I think my advice to companies who are interested in doing, you know, VR remote collaboration and working, there are, you know, solutions to actually get into it right now, but you need to future-proof yourself by making the investment now. You have to know that, you know, this situation could present itself in a couple of years again. You need to start experimenting, collaborating, trying VR, understanding what you want, what's different from what's out there, and what you want specifically for yourself, and start, you know, tailoring a solution that's perfect for you. And know that change is going to take time through organization. It's going to take time to get everyone to understand what a headset was. I mean, it took years for the PC to even start to revolutionize the business world, and it took even longer for that PC to get into our homes. So, you know, that natural evolution is happening in VR. It's just happening much faster. So you should get in now, and you should find opportunities and solutions so that you can future-proof yourself going forward. You know, talking about the platforms that are kind of out there for VR, one of the coolest platforms that I've seen is called the Wave. The Wave VR is an online, like, entertainment platform. You can watch concerts in the Wave. There have been really cool, you know, events that have happened. And coming up is John Legend. John Legend is going to be performing in this VR tool, this VR platform. And the immersive level is incredible. Like, you're in this virtual 3D environment that changes and adapts, and you're one of the people involved in the space, and you're seeing all these animations happen all around you, but you're in your home, or you're, you know, in your own bedroom. You can be anywhere you want, and thousands and thousands of people can get into a venue together, and they can watch a performance completely in VR, you know, that they couldn't see any other way. I mean, I know John Legend has come to South Africa a couple times, but, you know, could you, if he was performing in the Wave on Thursday night, you could go in and watch this concert. You don't have to fly to another country, to another place. If you wanted to watch John Legend perform tomorrow night, you could just jump into a virtual platform and watch it and be fully immersed and have an experience that's amazing. And, you know, with so many different friction points that don't exist, you don't have to go to a venue. You don't have to pay for a ticket. You don't have to stand in the lines for stuff. You don't have to stand for hours until they come on and perform. You put the headset on when he's going on stage, and you have your experience. I think that's an amazing experience that people are starting to realize is an opportunity. There's a possibility for us to do this, and there's a possibility for our consumers to do this as well. And if we start to embrace this shift in technology, then we can start to be at the forefront when these things happen. I mean, just the number of companies that are playing in the space around virtual collaboration, remote working, it's astronomical. There's companies doing stuff in every kind of industry you can think of. There's surgical training, there's entertainment, there's education, there's industrial applications, there's 3D designs and reviews. There's so many upon so many, like, industries that are being serviced by VR companies, and it's even getting bigger. There's social experiences where you can go and see your friends and be in the same room together and just have a chat in VR. I gave a presentation to the local VR community here in South Africa about 2 weeks ago, and I didn't have to leave my house. I just put on the headset. I gave my presentation. I turned the headset off. I didn't have to drive anywhere. I didn't have to get in my car. I mean, for the last 2 months, I haven't even put fuel in my car. It's still got the same tank that when lockdown happened. And, you know, this shift is starting to make all of us think a little bit differently about, you know, what does work mean like? What does life mean like? What does access to these things mean like? And yes, you can't, you know, recreate or replace an experience that you get in physical reality, but you don't really have an option. You know, when you're stuck in situations like we are right now, you have to adapt. You have to adapt or you're going to die. That's just how it is. You know, that's the world we live in right now. And, you know, talking about how we can adapt and, you know, and create these new types of technologies, I always find the ways that make the most sense are the ones that bridge existing tech. So this company is really cool. It's called Spaces. And what Spaces does is that it takes the idea of blending VR and the traditional content that exists. So what Spaces allows you to do is you can bring in calls from Skype and Zoom, Hangouts, WebEx, whatever. There's like about half a dozen platforms that it supports. And someone can be in VR and multiple people can be in VR, but other people who don't have VR headsets can still be involved in these meetings. So you'll see in that image that's on the screen that, you know, there's a couple people that are, you know, called in from Zoom calls, and there's a person there that's, you know, taking notes on a whiteboard and trying to, you know, facilitate this meeting. So, you know, while you have access issues, you can still bridge the gaps and you can still give, you know, people opportunities to still collaborate, you know, even though hardware is a bit limiting. You know, and this all kind of comes, you know, to my conclusion point. You know, a couple months ago, if you had told me that I was going to be locked in my house for the foreseeable future, I probably would have laughed at you and kicked you out of wherever you were. But you know, these are the realities we live in right now. You know, we're going to be, it's going to be quite a few months, if not a year, until, you know, something becomes normal again for us. And, you know, life as we know it has changed, and we have to start thinking about life 2.0. And life is work, love, entertainment. It's everything. And, you know, while we're stuck in our homes and we're trying to make the best of situations, we need to start thinking about how we can embrace the technology that exists to fill in this gap and create life 2.0. You know, if your business was making events, you need to shift into a space about doing digital events. I mean, Flock is a perfect company to talk to and for them to guide you. And through the playbook they're going to release in the next few weeks, I'm pretty sure that they're going to show you exactly how you can pull off some really top-end virtual events. But you also need to think about, you know, how do we have concerts? How do we have, you know, collaboration discussions? How do I just catch up with my friends and my family? How do I find ways to keep, you know, my own sanity and also my productivity as high as possible? And that all comes from embracing tech. You need to be able to embrace technology. You need to ask questions. You need to get yourself, you know, informed and understood what the world is going to look like for the foreseeable future. And you got to make the best of a bad situation. You know, I think that VR is a great technology. If you can get your hands on VR headsets, and obviously I can help with anyone who's looking for headsets. You know, it's a good place for you to start and to try and to test, and, you know, to ask the questions that's relevant to you. You know, what things do you need to see in your organization for VR to make sense? You know, what things do you need to see for what you're trying to offer to your customers for it to make sense? You know, when we're talking about video conferencing, you know, they're incremental improvements. You know, better cameras, better audio makes a better experience. But you're still limited by a two-dimensional screen. And, you know, there's interesting research that's been done that shows that Zoom calls with like more than 4 people is just completely unproductive, because you're looking at 6 people, 10 people, 20 people in the eye, and you can't make, you know, direct communication. You're not speaking in turns. It's hard to hold a conversation. They don't work. And the limitations are just there inherently, and they're not going to change. You're always going to have this problem of trying to fit 6 people into one tiny little screen and trying to make sense of what's going on. But when you get into VR, there's 6 people standing around you just like they do in a normal environment. And you can talk to them just like you normally would in a normal space. But you're not in that space. You're in your own space, and they're in their own space, and you're still as productive as possible. So these tools exist. And they're starting to gain a lot of momentum, because the VR industry, the AR industry, as we know it is, you know, I can tell you for a fact that VR and AR has been around for 2 or 3 decades. But, you know, from what consumers really understand, it's been the last 4 or 5 years. And I can tell you that most of you probably wouldn't touch a smartphone that's, you know, that was 6, 7 years old, you know, if you think about it. But think about where smartphones are now and where they were 6 years ago. And this is where VR and AR tech is going to be. if you give it 4, 5, 6 years, it's going to be better than your smartphone. And you need to start to understand what you want to see. You know, if you could have figured out Instagram before Instagram became a thing, you have an opportunity to move on the market. You have first mover advantage. And I think that all of us need to come to this realization that there will be life 2.0. We have to rethink everything. And the place that you start is with educating yourself. So, you know, look for the opportunities, have discussions with thought leaders and people that can give you the guidance and the advice and the expertise that you don't have. You know, take the opportunities to start educating yourself and prepare for Life 2.0 so that you can be on top and that you can find the opportunities that are presenting themselves. And when you do that, I think that you're going to be prepared for the ever-changing society that's starting to unfold around us. And that's my presentation.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can we see just some applause for Steve in the chat box, please, guys? So, Steve, thank you very much for that. We're just going to take one question, just wanting to move along to the next part of the presentation. That was really fantastic. We've got a question just around looking at making it the ease of access, because not everyone has a VR headset. So it's going to be some time, as you've mentioned, you know, where it becomes a new sort of accessory that we have at our homes, like a smartphone. So looking at some platforms that, I mean, are you able to still have a engagement or experience without having the headset?
Yeah, so there are tools and platforms that exist where you can, you know, dial in on a 2-dimensional screen. So, you know, if you go into AltSpace VR, you know, obviously the experience is so much better when you're in, you know, AltSpace, but you can move your avatar around and you can see the display, you know, in a 2-dimensional space, and you can still be involved. It's just like, you know, if I could refer it, it's kind of like dial-up, and VR is like fiber. You know, it's that kind of distinction. But you still obviously can get on the internet, right? So there are platforms that exist where you can, you know, like Spaces, where you can have a 2-dimensional interface that you can still be involved, and you know, other people can be in VR who have headsets, and eventually people are going to, you know, transfer into that space where everyone's just going to have a VR headset. But you know, the nature of technology is that it takes time for adoption to grow. I mean, even with Oculus, which is owned by Facebook and is probably the biggest VR company out there, they're not distributed here in South Africa. They're not distributed in South America. They're not distributed in parts of Asia. You know, they have a very limited distribution network because they're a relatively new company. So it's going to take a couple of years until everyone could like walk into a store or order one on Take-A-Lot and get it delivered to their homes. You know, and it'll be at that price point that's attractive enough for you to try. You know, I think back, like people spend $1,000 now on a smartphone, right? That's what the price point is for an iPhone. A new iPhone is $1,000. I think that people are going to be less apprehensive to try VR when it gets to a $300 to $400 price point. You know, then you can say, okay, well, I could buy that if it's compelling enough. And I think that it is compelling enough. I think the distribution is just a challenge. It's just, you know, the access is a problem. But there's so many platforms that allow you to see what others are doing in VR and still be involved in the conversation and be involved in the experiences, that it gives you enough validation that you should spend the money and try, you know, the experience for yourself.
Awesome. Very exciting times ahead of us. So again, thank you so much, Steve. There's some great questions in the question box. Just for time, we're going to be answering those directly, and whichever questions we don't get to, we'll reach out to you personally and answer those. So Steve, thank you very much. Awesome having you with us.
Thanks a lot.
Yes. Bye. All right, guys, so we're going to continue with the presentation. I'm going to bring Kelly up back on stage. We're going to be just talking about a couple of tips. So give us a moment as I bring Kelly up on stage. But yeah, let us know what you think. I mean, the way the world is going, really, really interesting times ahead of us. Let us know, have you ever experienced a VR experience? What were your thoughts? It'd be great to hear from you in the chat box. Okay, awesome. So while Kelly gets up on stage, I'm going to go through this quite quickly just for the sake of time. I know that we're running out of time. Again, please engage with us on social media. You can use the hashtag Flock Platform, hashtag Knowledge Series as well. Right, cool, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go through the types of events, essentially, that you can move online to. You know, we're seeing ourselves doing stuff for conferences, exhibitions, also music events and social events, looking at networking and training events where you need the CPD points, as well as activations and launches. So we really have seen a spike in the interest of the types of events that are considering going online. And again, when we move back to the normal, we'll see hybrid events emerge where you'll have the physical event. It will be a smaller audience, but you can have a larger audience online. As mentioned, in the VR space, you've got many platforms. Same with the virtual event space or online event space. There's a couple of platforms that we've partnered with. We're going to be able to provide those great discounts that we've got onto our clients. And we've also integrated the Flock platform into some of these platforms. So you can do some research, see what else is out there. More than happy to schedule demos with you to take you through a couple of systems. Essentially, they provide the ability for you to be able to have a live stage, as we have right here. You can network with each other if you're attendees. You can set the amount of time that each attendee has with each other. You can have virtual booths where essentially you'd be able to have a representative of that stand engage with people that come through and engage with that product or that company at that booth. Again, then you've got the networking platforms where you're now able to have tables set up and you can network with each other at your tables. You can have a live stage and go to the live stage and get the Q&As going. So you can really see there is a way of still conducting your events. With the virtual environment as well, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have a VR headset. You could have an auditorium or an exhibition and still engage with that representative of that stand, switch on your microphone and camera and actually see that person. And then you'd be able to see other avatars all from your laptop without actually having a VR headset. So you can still engage with that representative if someone's standing and talking to that representative as you would in a normal physical event in terms of the social aspect. Just wait your turn until you're able to chat, or you can join in the conversation as well. So some great platforms out there. If you'd like to speak to us, we can definitely guide you and just understand the type of event. So over to you, Kelly. I think you'll be giving us some tips and tricks. I know, cognizant of time, we also want to run the competition, so we've got a couple of minutes left. But over to you, Kelly.
Great. Cool. Yeah, thanks, Mike. And also thanks, Steve, for that. That was really interesting. Yeah, it's great to see what's out there and sure, some really exciting stuff. You know, once people do get more connected, that certainly is going to open many doors in terms of creating events that we've really never seen or even conceived before. So yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of tips and tricks that we've discovered ourselves over the last couple of weeks, just putting on these type of events and others. And yeah, we'll send them out in the playbook as well, so no need to scribble them down in haste. But I'll get a couple more each week as we go along. Great. Yeah, so initially, of course, yeah, just starting off with something really simple, which everyone can relate to that puts on events, is creating a game plan for your online events, just as you would plan out and conceive a physical event. Yeah, being able to do the same for an online event and what you can achieve with, you know, the platform that you have. Yeah, of course. So, I mean, there's a couple of ideas that you really want to think about before starting. You know, every online event should have a strategy. So, I mean, you know, what kind of experience are you hoping to deliver? What do you want your guests to feel? You know, what do you want type of environment do you want to create? And You know, is it a big event? Is it a small event? You know, what type of component or functionality do you need to facilitate that? Great. Yeah, something simple. Will the event be live, or is it going to be pre-recorded? You know, a live event takes a lot of things to put together. If it's something pre-recorded, yeah, possibly a little bit simpler. Again, are you going to monetize the event? Is it going to be paid, or is it going to be free? Yeah, I mean, can you sell tickets for it? And then again, I mean, you know, what type of price do you put on these tickets? How many people can you have attending these events? Great. You know, when's the best time to put on this event? You know, we've been thinking all week, you know, 3 o'clock on Wednesday for this one would be great, but yeah, perhaps maybe not 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. We wouldn't have as many people. Something to consider. Yeah, and of course, do you need event registration? So yeah, something that we offer ourselves, but you know, handling that type of thing, especially when you might have perhaps a couple of hundred people for an event. Usually, you know, now that there's no limit to geographic location, you know, you could have, you know, hundreds, if not thousands, more registration, and how those registrations going to be handled. Yeah, of course, just as you would promote your usual event, you know, how are you going to look at promoting your virtual event? You know, we don't have physical print media anymore for this, so it's going to have to be done through social media, through various other channels, and also something to consider for your virtual events. With that, I mean, do you want to work with an advertising partner, or exactly as we do with our registrations, can you use a registration system to contact all your guests?
Awesome.
And, yeah, of course. Will people still have access to the event when it's over? Exactly like now, you know, we can record the event and have the content available to be viewed at a later stage. You could also record different sessions from an event, record different speakers, and choose to have that content available at a later stage. This in future can also be done for hybrid events. So, you know, you could have a physical event being planned, people viewing the content as they would at a conference, and perhaps people also viewing it online and over the next foreseeable future. Great. Okay. Couple more here. Something that we've learned over the last few weeks as well, checking and doing dry runs with presenters and speakers. Some really basic tips, of course, of actually, you know, doing the production. You know, check your mics, as Steve said, check your video quality. You know, check your internet connection. You know, free up your bandwidth. Something that was just running right now for me. My Dropbox was busy syncing, and yeah, just pause that. There could be a lot of things running in the background when you're streaming live. Just ensuring those are all off, and you've got as much bandwidth for a live recording as possible. And of course, yeah, check all your links and content before the start of the event. Great. Okay. Yeah, Mike, we're going to move over to engagement, and this is audience engagement. You got that slide for us?
Yep, cool.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, something that's, you know, audience engagement is a little bit more difficult than you would have at a live event. You know, everyone's at home behind a laptop screen now, and it's very easy to get distracted. So yeah, just a couple of things, and certainly things that we've tried to incorporate in this event today, that you really to just keep in mind when you are putting on something virtual. First off, I mean, have exciting content, quite as you would have at any event. But yeah, display interesting information in various ways. You know, using infographics, incorporate audio or video with your speakers' content as well. And yeah, something quite simple as you would draw to any event. It's just as important, if not more important, for online events. Have great guest stars, as we've had Steve with us today. Fantastic wealth of knowledge in the virtual environment. Yeah, be sure to invite knowledgeable and well-known people to join your event. And yeah, again, to tie to what Steve was saying, something, you know, especially if you're looking at a paid-for event, you know, you want to ensure really solid production value. You know, make use of studios or other suppliers. And as Steve highlighted, of course, you know, ensure you've got some professional equipment. At the end of the day, if people are buying tickets for an event, they are expecting a professional production. Cool. Obviously, promoting engagement before and after the event. You could use an event website or an event mobile app, something like we do of our own, our Flock app. And just engage and prepare with your audience for your virtual event. Obviously, using these tools, you can keep them up to date, as well as gauge their expectations, with feedback prior to the event. Also have a passionate presenter. Mike, thank you so much for today, hosting the show. But having an exciting speaker, someone that's passionate about the content and the theme of the event will be a requirement for any virtual event. This will obviously help keep everyone engaged, and even if they are from behind their laptop. And last off, there's a couple of different features that you can use. As you can see this afternoon, we've been quite keen on engaging in the polls. We've obviously got a survey running at the moment. There's also the chat and the Q&A, and just generally keeping people involved, and especially if there is online content, a speaker chatting, perhaps have someone moderating that content as well, someone answering the questions on the back end. And of course, collating all the information from the surveys, something that you can then use post-event. And last, keep it fun. Include, especially if there are breaks, depending on the length of the event, include things like trivia or quizzes, puzzles to look at. Sometimes people want to get up and have a coffee, but others are, they're looking for something to keep them busy in the breaks. So you can include that, as well as have things like prizes for competitions to build up excitement for your events and future ones. So that's our tips on engagement. We'll have some more in our next rendition on tips and tricks. But thanks so much, Mike.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Kelly. Cool. She'll stick around. That was really great. Just in terms of the playbook, guys, we're going to be sharing these tips and tricks with you in the playbook, briefly to chat about budgets and monetizing your event. There's many ways to do that through sponsorships. You've got more eyes on screens right now. You're extending your reach to a global audience. We were involved with an event called that Fun Fit Fest, that about 220 people at their physical event. With COVID happening and the lockdown, they looked to move to an online event where we assisted them, and they had over 2,800 people log in over 6 different countries. So amazing reach and sponsorships with regards to that. And then in terms of ticket sales, you can also have various ticket sales, so on-demand ticket sales as well. Cool. So essentially, there's many ways of doing things. As Kelly mentioned, do the rehearsal. We had to do this rehearsal about 4 times, even though we're going over time, and I do apologize for that. We will end shortly in the next 5 minutes. But a rehearsal is really important, making sure that you're testing. I mean, if you're seeing it behind the scenes over here, we've got 3 routers on just in case something does happen. So when you're having your live event, you can always have a plan B or a fallback switch. So really important to remember that and bear that in mind. Perfect. And then post-event, send out the survey. I mean, we've got the survey that we're going to send out running the competition, where we're going to give away that 10,000 Rand worth of software. So have a look out. We're going to SMS it as well as include it in the chat. So if you're looking to get up to 10,000 Rands worth of software for your next online event, you please complete the survey, and you could stand a chance to win. We'll announce that at during next week. And then again, follow through and maintain communication. What was the feedback from people? Reach out to them. You're building this audience, so essentially keep them together. One of those things that you can do is have the mobile app where there's not so much information that's fragmented. It's all in one spot for them, easy to get information from. Push notifications, you can send out segmented push notifications to a different audience as well. Utilizing things like your social media, newsletter, invites to upcoming events. You're building this massive online community. How can you engage with them post your initial event? So follow through and maintain communication. And again, plan for the next 5 years. Again, we may look at something that's suited for the current situation, but that could change. So really have an open mind as to how you're hosting your events and looking at the future and beyond. So with that, I just want to say thank you very much. We're going to get Veronica back on stage, but while we do that, you can get in contact with us in terms of social media and so forth.
Great. Yeah, guys, and of course, I mean, there's been a lot of fantastic ideas here today. We're all here to learn together. I'm sure a couple of them have sparked a few ideas of your own for your own events. And yeah, that's exactly what we've been doing the last few weeks ourselves, you know, learning new techniques, new ways to put on events. And yeah, certainly if you are interested in putting things together, we've shown a lot of content here today. But we've got a lot of different components that we're combining at the moment to really create something during these times. So, you know, put on events, you know, that are more than a Zoom call. Put on something that we've got content booked for and things planned for already. Yeah, so get in contact with us and we'll tell you how to do it.
Cool. Thank you very much, guys. Perfect. So
Awesome.
In terms of our winner, give me a second. I just want to close the screen over here. Veronica, I think you've got a winner for us. Do you want to share your screen with us to announce who the lucky winner is? So thank you, guys. Around 160 of you joining us today from all around the world. Portugal, thank you so much, Pauline. Jen, all the way from the UK. That's amazing. Cape Town, Joburg. It's fantastic. Cool. So looks like, do you want to share your screen, Veronica, if you go to the top there? There we go.
Oh, this is exciting.
Yes, let me know when you guys can see it. Awesome. So the winner for today has been very active and definitely filled out our event survey. So here we go. Drum roll, please.
Cool. Okay, let's do this.
Here we go.
Eloise Klutter.
Congratulations.
Is Louise here? Can you give us just a wave in the chat box, please, Eloise?
Well done, Eloise.
Eloise, are you there?
Let's see.
Yeah, she says, yay.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Okay. Just a quick thing, Eloise, would you like to come up on stage? Just give me a second. Do you want to come up on stage and say hi to everyone, Eloise? Okay, let's see. All right, perfect, Eloise. So you've won a 1,500 Rand shopping voucher from Spa, and then a 500 Rand donation to a charity of your choice. So we'll be reaching out to you by tomorrow to let you know how you can get your prize to you, actually. So guys, thank you so much. We've had about 160 of you join us today. Really, really privileged to have some of your time with us. Those that we have worked with, again, thank you so much for the support. We're here to support you as well, even if it's just to discuss some ideas or you're looking at some platforms to consider. We really want to try help where we can. So with that, just want to say thank you. Have a fantastic evening and hope to speak to you all soon. Thank you very much, guys.
Great, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you all. Bye.
We'll catch you in 2 weeks for round 2.
Yes. And with that, please diarize the 27th of May. We're going to have a fantastic speaker talking about human connections. And then we've got the other Michael Jackson, who's going to be talking about life after lockdown. So some really interesting topics coming through in the next few weeks. Thank you very much, everyone.
Cool.
Awesome. Bye.